The idea behind Subversion is to know your audience's expectations, to set them up with cliches and familiarities so they feel comfortable. Like some kind of clairvoyant who knows what will happen next. And then, bam! To pull the rug out from under them and take them in a direction they didn't see coming. We often call them plot twists when it's a sudden reveal, but there are plenty of films which approach this with a much more subtle, slow burn, and subvert their own themes even. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Every new sub helps us achieve our goal and keeps us motivated to create new content. With that being said, I'm your host, Jamie, and here are 10 subversive horror films. Number 1. Funny Games. Funny Games is an engaging, albeit nail-biting, French-German film worth a watch or two. The film starts off with a man knocking at a couple's door wanting food, and a woman to use her phone. She doesn't want to let him in, but her husband, against his better judgment, opens the house to him. There's a tension permeating throughout the film that is simply due to the contrast between the antagonist's charm and cruelty. The film is undoubtedly a well-crafted thriller, but the most intriguing element is the fourth wall breaking nature of the film. Interestingly enough, the director of the film, Michael Haneke, remade his own film almost beat for beat with some modernizing updates. The ending remains the same though, and has left many audiences with their jaws on the floor at the sudden twist. Make sure to check this out on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 2. The Cabin in the Woods. The Cabin in the Woods is a little less subtle in its approach than, say, Scream, as it takes head on all sorts of horror tropes in a smart and highly entertaining story that is self-reflexive and meta to the extreme. Although he's recently had a huge fall from grace, writer Joss Whedon's wit and whimsy is stamped all over this film that Drew Goddard directed with finesse. Even when you think you've got a handle on what's going on in this cinematic thrill ride, you'll still find yourself saying, well, that escalated quickly. Going to a family member's cabin should never end in this much mayhem. And really, have we learned nothing yet? Don't read something that you shouldn't be reading, or hell, even opening. Take some time to relearn this lesson on Peacock, Google Play, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 3. Scream. Scream remains a fan favorite, even today, for its clever twists, meta commentary, great characters, memorable quotes, taut suspense, and ruthless kills, which the franchise has remained decently good at through Scream 6, albeit a few missteps along the way. Scream was a cultural phenomenon in 1996, ushering in a slasher revival and a shift in horror. While it was a true thriller and iconic slasher, it was also a razor-sharp satire of the slasher subgenre. Scream worked within the familiar framework of 80s slasher tropes, while constantly flipping them on their heads. The scares came as much as the laughs. One of the reasons Scream was so monumental was that it didn't just subvert expectations within the film, but also outside the film in its marketing and casting. Prior to Scream, you didn't see in a slasher film a cast full of rising stars from television shows, let alone a bona fide A-lister like Drew Barrymore. The trailers treated Scream like a serious thriller led by Drew Barrymore. The opening sequence alone shocked audiences as it played homage to When a Stranger Calls, and is still to this day considered one of the best openings in horror. Go play this game over on Max, Hulu, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 4. Resolution. Resolution is a 2012 horror mystery that went under the radar. Its gritty indie aesthetic elevated its themes of addiction as well as the drama that the two protagonists endure. It feels authentic, and not just through the dynamic of the main characters whom are best friends. The dialogue and interactions feel natural. Resolution's relative ordinariness only make the gradual introduction of strange elements feel even more bizarre by contrast. Two other films are set in the same fictional universe, The Endless and Synchromic, and some believe them to be somewhat of a sequel. Helping your best friend overcome addiction is a difficult road to travel, but add in some unknown terrors, and you have the makings for a great film. So check it out on Zumo, Tubi, Roku, Prime, Plex, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 5. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. Tucker and Dale vs. Evil's tone is similar to that of Shaun of the Dead, or even Piranha 3D. All these films' production designs are that of a horror film, from the action to gore, but their scripts are that of a comedy. And comedy is all about subverting expectations. While films like Scream or Cabin in the Woods dance around with comedy and comedic elements, Tucker and Dale vs. Evil's horror aesthetic is merely to add emphasis to the humor, as well as its cartoonish leads. It also really goes to show that Murphy's Law is highly at work here. Anything that can go wrong, does. The twist towards the end is too good and classic, and I love it. I want to see if you agree, so check it out on Zumo, Tubi, Sling, Pluto, Fandango, Plex, Prime, Google Play, Redbox, or Apple TV.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Hi, I'm Lacy Jane, and these are my designs. Some of my pieces will be in an upcoming showcase at the Annex. If you like what you see, find me at Lacy Jane's Designs on Facebook. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lacy Jane Designs, where you can also contact me if you'd like to purchase any of my artworks. Thanks again.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Number 6. Cat People. The 1982 Cat People is a remake of the more subtle but still subversive 1942 Cat People. In 1942, film production still had to work within the restriction of the Hays Code, so the film was more restrained and subtle, but it was iconic nonetheless. The supernatural element was not confirmed or denied, and there was more room for interpretation of the events in the film. The Cat People also introduced the fake-out jump scare with its infamous bus stop scene, in which an arriving bus invokes a fake-out jump scare. It's a common practice in horror film now, but quite new and jarring at the time. The 1982 version of Cat People is a fairly straightforward, albeit explicit and erotic creature feature. But it's not without its misdirection and surprises. So take a peek over on Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 7. Barbarian Sound Studio. Weird, gory, and brilliant is the best way to describe this film. Peter Strickland wrote and directed this masterpiece, mainly because he wanted to show the mechanics of a film. You know, everything that goes into it. Strickland takes this idea and brings it to life in 2012, which follows a sound engineer who has never worked on a horror story before. But the director of the movie says it's something more. There are so many times where you're questioning what's real or not, and the way it all plays out can really fuck with your mind. But you'll be left wanting to know what happens. It really demonstrates that not everything we see is real. So take a chance and check it out on AMC Plus, Philo, Sling, Roku, Prime, Google Play, or Apple TV. Number 8. You're next. Let's be honest. If you're watching this video, I kind of hope you've seen all of or even most of the films on our list. I'm jumping through hoops a bit to give viewers the rundown on these films without spoiling too much, but still offer something other than surface level insight for movie mavens out there. Films like You're Next never made it into the cultural zeitgeist like Scream or Get Out, but it is an absolute brutal blast. At its core, it is a home invasion thriller with slasher elements. While Your Next gets pretty ruthless, the subtext and real drive in the film revolves around the ups and downs of familial relationships. These elements, and this applies to any horror film, or film in general, help ground Your Next and give it substance. The mediation on family makes the thrills more thrilling, and the unexpected reveals even more meaningful. So head on over to Pluto, Prime, Google Play, Apple TV, or Fandango to check it out. Number 9. Don't Breathe. The marketing for Don't Breathe gave away one of the twists in the film because it was also quite the hook, which is that the blind man, the characters led by actress Jane Levy, are planning to rob is also a skilled combat veteran. That's where the trailer ends. But honestly, these 3 breaking into his house only gives him a right to cast the law. So he has every right to hunt down these delinquents and shoot them. But there is another twist to the story that I can't share. The filmmakers fashion quite a bit of crafty misdirection in this taut thriller. Buried under all the thrills is a sentimental story as well. Stephen Lang gives a standout performance for his role as the antagonist. But since this is a horror flick, it went unnoticed during award season. Make sure to check this out on Google Play, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Number 10. Get Out. Jordan Peele pushed modern elevated horror into the mainstream with his 2017 directorial debut, Get Out. He has proven to be a masterful suspense horror director over the years. A modern Hitchcock, if you will. Prior to that, he was known for his comedy, particularly the sketch comedy show he did with Keegan-Michael Key and Peele. Get Out is an expertly directed horror film with a sublime, award-winning script. The film is a unique take on films like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and The Stepford Wives. Get Out consistently subverts and satirizes genre norms, particularly through the lens of race. More importantly, it critiques a more nuanced version of modern racism. Although Get Out is relatively new, its influence on mainstream horror since is undeniable. Take some time to see this on Hulu, Peacock, Google Play, Prime, Apple TV, or Fandango. Thanks for checking out the video. Did we leave any films off the list? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to tap that bell icon to stay up to date with our latest releases. You can reach out to us on Twitter or X at StudiosFat, or chat with us on Discord, linked below. Make sure to check out our very own merch store located at fatninja.shop. All proceeds go towards our next film project, so we'd greatly appreciate it. I've been your host, Jamie. Thanks again. See you in the next one.